Good evening, students. So let us start with the chapter 2 of chemistry, class 11th, structure of atom. Okay. So welcome to Shruti Academy. Please subscribe my channel and also share my videos. Okay. So let us start with the chapter. So in this chapter, we are going to study about the atom. Basically, we are going to study about the atom. First of all, we are going to study about the discoveries, different discoveries, the subdivision of atom, the discoveries of the subdivision of the atoms, and then later on we will move on to the Rutherford model. So what actually is atom is? Atom is the smallest particle that cannot be divided. Actually, the atom word came out from the Greek word which means atimo. So atom basically arrived from the Greek word which means atimo, T-O-M-I. Okay, it arrived from the Greek word which means atimo, and the meaning of atimo is uncuttable or non-divisible Okay, so many discoveries were going on with the atom, that how atom came, what are the particles of the atom, what are the subdivisions of the atom. So as we already know, the subdivisions for the atom are subdivisions of atom are, there are three divisions, we already know. There are three divisions. Firstly, the electrons. Second are the protons. And third are the neutrons. Okay. So these are the three subdivisions of the atom. Okay. So all these were discovered by the different scientists and by the different people, and they were going on in the search of how they came into existence. So let us start with the discovery of the electrons. So we will be starting with the discovery of the electrons. Earlier nobody known what are electrons. So Faraday came in the 1830s time. In the 1830s time he came up, and what he did, he made a setup of electrolysis. He prepared two electrodes, he passed the current through them, and he placed those electrodes in the electrolyte solution. And what he observed that on either of the electrodes the gas is liberated, or some particles get deposited on either of the electrodes. So he came up with the idea of the electrolysis. Then he later on studied, and he was studying all the things about the electrolysis, and in his research work in 1850s, around in 1850s, what he did, he passed the electricity through the vacuum, through a tube in which the vacuum was there, low pressure was there, and he called it as cathode ray tubes. So we will be studying about those cathode ray tubes, how the electrons were discovered. So what is actually a cathode ray tube? So basically we have to study about the cathode ray tube. Cathode ray tube, okay. So let us draw a structure of cathode ray tube. Firstly, it is made up of two electrodes. One is the positive and one is the negative. Okay, one is the positive and one is the negative electrode. A thin tube is there. It is made up of that, and it is connected to the voltage and it is connected to the voltage. Okay, so firstly there was no low pressure in the tube. There was no low pressure in the tube. It was not vacuum tube. Okay, so the electron, as the voltage was connected, no set of particles were being seen over here. Okay, no set of particles were being seen over here. Later on, what he did, he took out some of the gas which was filled outside, means he made it vacuumated through the vacuum tube. He made the tube vacuumated, okay, through the vacuum pump, through the vacuum pump, through the vacuum pump, okay. So when vacuum pump, to the vacuum pump, when the low pressure was done over here and the temperature was increased and pressure was made low, then when we pass the electricity through it, means we have applied it through a battery or some source of battery, and then what we have seen, we have seen that the particles were seen to be moved from this end to this end, from positive end to from negative end to positive end. Particles were seen to be moving from negative end to the positive end. So those particles were known as the cathode rays. Though these particles were known as the particles moving from negative to positive were termed as cathode rays. Okay, were termed as cathode rays. Were termed as cathode rays. And so the experiment is of cathode ray tube experiment. Okay, cathode rays. So just now the conclusion was not to be made that these rays are traveling from cathode to anode because they were originated, the particles originated from the cathode. So just the name was given that these were the cathode rays. But it was not proved that these electrons which are, these particles which are moving, those are electrons only. That was not proved yet. Okay, only the thing was that to be noticed by the scientists and by the Faraday was that some particles are moving from the negative to the positive end, and those particles were just named as the cathode rays, or in some of the books it is written that cathode particles, and they were just named as cathode particles because these particles originated from the negative to the positive. They originated from the cathode. They originated from the cathode, and cathode is the negative terminal of the electrode. So they were just named as cathode rays. Okay. Later on, what happened is again some experiments were done, and again a concept was brought. So what the concept was brought was that in the positive plate was kept as it is. The positive plate was kept as it is, but the negative plate the negative plate was kept as it is, but the positive plate, the anode side plate, there was made a hole, and on the anode a screen was placed, and this screen was fluorescent screen. It can be any of the screen, fluorescent or phosphorescent screen, any screen was placed, and a battery was attached in a similar manner. Okay. And a battery was attached in a similar manner. So what happened now? what happened now? My electrons moved through the hole, and they were seen to be spotted at one point at the screen, and they were seen to be spotted at one point at the screen. So the conclusion was made that these particles were electrons. These particles were electrons. Then the magnetic field, in the magnetic field and in the electric field, the characteristics of these particles were different. Okay, so in the electric field, what happened? Negatively charged particles were attracted towards the positive side of the battery, positive side of the electric field. Okay, so definitely all the particles were attracted, and the without any magnetic field or electric field, the particles were moving in a straight line. But later on, as soon as we applied the electric field, external electric field, we applied. This electric field is for the voltage of the electrons, but if we applied some external electric field, so in the external electric field, these particles, they were all of them were attracted towards the positive terminal of that electric field. So later on it came to know that because they are attracting towards the positive terminal, so the unlike charges attract each other and like charges repel each other. So these charges would be electrons. Then it came to the mind of the to the scientists that these charges are the electrons. Okay, and also when the magnetic setup was done, then also these electrons were attracted towards North Pole. Whole of the beam had been tilted and attracted towards North Pole. So this evidence was there, and so it proved that the particles are surely the electrons. The particles are surely the electrons. So this was the experiment done. So it concluded that the atom is divided into the particles, subdivided into particles, and one of the particles is electron, that is sure for it. So the conclusion which was made, was that the particles moving along the straight line from cathode to anode are surely electrons, and atoms are composed of electrons as their constituent element. Okay, as their constituent element. Okay, so particles moving along the straight line from cathode to anode are surely the electrons. Okay, this was the main conclusion. And secondly, the atoms all composed of electrons are the constituent elements of the atom. Okay, so electrons were the constituent elements of the atom. Atom is again divided into electron, proton and neutron. So this was the discovery of the electron. This came into existence, and today we are dealing with electrons, and many more experiments are going on. Till today it is going on, many more experiments. In the later sections we will be studying about the protons, the discovery of the protons, the discovery of the neutrons, the J.J. Thomson model, the Rutherford experiment. We are going to study all in detail, and all the concepts we are going to study in detail. Okay, so please subscribe my channel. Please share my videos, and if you have any doubt, you can ask me in the comment section. Thank you.